So I'll quickly include Jackie and Robin. Both of them are going to grace our next topic. So Jackie, right now, as we speak, she's in White House and she's doing a great work today. She's participating in the celebration of the National Whistleblower Day, and
Mhm.
yeah, so both Jackie and Robin are going to discuss about whistleblower safeguards, safeguarding truth tellers, systems, and psyche, holistic protection frameworks. And the outcome, what we are expecting over the next 25 minutes is mental health support protocols or corporate whistleblower scorecard. I'll quickly introduce their background. Jackie is the founder of Whistleblowers of America. So she herself was a whistleblower in the past, and she has taken the mantle now to see how the future whistleblowers can be protected. And I think she has done a great deal of work and working, collaborating with government a lot. And we have got Robin, who's supporting Jackie today, where he is also going to join, and he has been leading a company, Heroic Robots, and he has been working along with Hollywood and defense industry on AI ethics policy and many other things. So I'll let both of them even give a deeper introduction and then grace us, enlighten us. Thank you.
Sean, do you want my slides first or second?
Jackie is in on the road in White House. Is it okay if she can go first, Robin?
Yeah, it's all good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. So I'm Dr. Jackie Garrick. I'm the founder of Whistleblowers of America, and I am standing in the halls of actually the Senate office building today, where we just concluded some National Whistleblower Day seminars and a private meeting with Senator Grassley in his office with several other whistleblowers who he has helped during the last few years. So just a quick background, Whistleblowers of America was created in 2017 primarily to be a peer support program where we primarily concentrate on whistleblower mental health issues. The idea that retaliation is trauma is something that I saw early on as we were working with whistleblowers. You know, you connect with one person, another person, and the stories started to sound very familiar. People were talking about how they were in battle, surviving, trying to save their lives. They were losing their jobs, their families, their homes. These court cases were dragging on for years, so they were very prolonged. And all the while, you're sort of struggling to survive. When I start looking at things like post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, anxiety, depression, we start to see where people can be really affected, and these conditions can start to become very lifelong. So we recognize that we need to be very aware of those mental health problems. And we talk a lot about PTSD and these other conditions as needing a trauma-informed perspective. So we work with a lot of law firms and journalists and other advocates to help them really understand the nature of whistleblowing and the psychosocial impacts that it has. So I've written a book called The Psychosocial Impacts of Whistleblower Retaliation, Shattering Employee Resilience and the Workplace Promise. And in that book, we identify what we consider the main domains of retaliation that cause the emotional harm. That's gaslighting, mobbing, marginalizing, shunning, double binding, counter-accusing, and bullying. And within those domains, I've developed protocols and indicators for that so that when whistleblowers are taking their cases to court, they have a structure by which to demonstrate that the retaliation has caused them harm. So we don't start thinking about retaliation and trauma and whistleblowing as being connected. We're not going to ever really see how we could standardize and assist people as they need to recover from the retaliation. Because as I mentioned, you're talking about something that can go on for a decade and people have lost a lot of their quality of life along the way. We want to find ways to make them whole. And without a standardized tool, we find that then it is too subjective and that courts are making decisions, one whistleblower will get 20,000 for their pain and suffering, and another will get 5 million for their pain and suffering. And so without that rhyme and reason to the process, we're finding that it's just too subjective for courts or judges and juries to make good decisions about whistleblowing retaliation. So right now, and the reason I'm on the Hill today, besides it being National Whistleblower Day, I spent yesterday here between the House offices and the Senate offices, was because a lot of what we do is we advocate for whistleblowers. I spent a good portion of my time talking about Sukir and asking Senator Grassley, I'll send you guys the pictures, we just met with him, and we asked Senator Grassley if when the whistleblower AI protection bill comes up, if they would name it or make it in memory of Sukir Balaji, so that we can connect the dots between just how much sacrifice goes into being a whistleblower. And we talked about it at the conference today, which interestingly enough was very focused on AI whistleblowers. There was a couple of speakers and a panel that were discussing the AI whistleblower problems that they've had. So it's probably very similar to some of the things that you've been discussing today, that these protections need to exist. They don't. These structures need to exist. They don't. If you make a disclosure and there's no oversight or regulatory body that is dealing with your disclosure, then it really goes nowhere and there are no protections. And it becomes even harder to do something that has a forcing function. So it's one thing to say there are protections. There's another thing to have who actually will investigate and have oversight. And we find that if we can use our voice and make that difference, it really matters to the whistleblowers. There were several hundred people storming the Capitol today so that we could talk about these issues, meet with Senator Grassley. Senator Wyden also made an appearance there, the co-sponsors on the on some of the legislation. There's the AI legislation. There's also a government contractor bill that we've been very involved in and wanting to see move forward. So if we can work together, those are some of the initiatives that we're taking today. And I say this over and over again, retaliation is trauma, mental health matters, and we must include all of that in the work that we do and the advocacy that we do. So I won't take any more time. I'm happy to answer any questions, and then I'm gonna turn it back over and let you guys get on with your day as well. And I can't see the chat because I'm on the phone if there are questions.
Sure, Jackie. So, Robin, if you allow me, I'll just invite if there are any audience questions for a minute so that we can relieve Jackie to continue her business. Is it okay?
And my email is jackie@whistleblowersofamerica.org, JACKIE. If anybody wants to reach out to me privately, we're definitely working on this issue on the Hill today. Our hearts and our minds are with you. We have uttered Sukir Balaji's name many times today in several of the meetings, just to keep that hope alive and for there to be meaning to what he has done and the work that he has done.
Thank you, Jackie. If there are any questions to Jackie, anyone, you guys want to be brief, just ask before Robin starts his presentation. You guys can unmute yourself. I have just opened it up. Anybody have any questions? You can raise your hand through Zoom and you can unmute yourself. Okay. Looks like I think it's Good one, Jackie. Thanks a lot for taking time out
All
despite your
right,
busy
thank
schedule.
you.
And we
No,
sincerely appreciate, I'll kind of appreciate on behalf of the conference organization as well as from the family side. I think both Balaji and Purnima also sincerely appreciate what you are doing from Whistleblowers of America. Thanks a lot, and let's hope something gets done for the whistleblowers of artificial intelligence industry. Thanks a lot, Jack.
thank you. We will definitely keep up the fight. And we have a conference in September. We're definitely looking to keep talking about this issue, maybe do a roundtable on this issue as well in August. So again, Jackie at Whistleblowers of America, our conference is called the Workplace Promise Institute. And I look forward to hearing from you guys, and I will keep in touch, and I will let you know if we hear anything more from some of the Hill staffers that we met with over the last few days.
Sounds good, Jackie. Thanks a lot. Okay, over to you, Robin. So you can carry forward. Jack, in case if you want to continue, please feel free to drop and then you can continue. Sorry to hold you. Thank you.
Thank you.
So you are on.
Sean, is that okay? Can you see?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so I've got a dozen slides here, but they're pretty light, so I'll go through them rapidly. I want to talk about artificial intelligence safety today. And although I've been in this industry for a long time, you may not have ever heard of me. I have a design firm called Heroic Robots, and also a nonprofit called Fountain Abode. At the United Nations, I led the ITU Medical Metaverse Task Group. At WHO, I led the augmented reality group that does hospital ER, 3D telepresence. For the U.S. Department of Transportation, I designed software that is in the traffic lights for the country. At DARPA, I worked in AI real-time crisis detection. And I'm also a professor. I currently teach at CCBC in Washington, D.C. area, and have previously taught at the Naval Postgraduate School and the University of Washington. So here is Balaji's white paper, When Does Generative AI Qualify for Fair Use? So there's an interesting illustration in this paper. This is y equals f of x, where y is generative AI and x is the corpus of data that has been fed to it. And where these things overlap, that becomes copying, or what may also be called plagiarism. It's not generative AI anymore. And this is due to a defect in how AI works. It's not supposed to copy, just to be clear. So Balaji trained GPT-4 and ChatGPT for 4 years. And then in 2024, after OpenAI had gone through quite a bit of change in what its company mandate was, he said, if you believe what I believe, you just have to leave. His white paper was published in October and said that the main reason that ChatGPT produces low entropy outputs is because it's post-trained with RLHF. Low entropy outputs is another way of saying copying. But what really interested me about this paper is not the reference to plagiarism, but the implication that it has with the future of AI. Because RLHF incorporates human feedback into the learning process. And what that says in plain English is that ChatGPT, Claude, Copilot, and other LLMs are learning from us. They're not just learning from the data that's being input that may have come from artists or the internet or whatever. They're also learning from us. So, artificial intelligence capabilities. We have a choice between good or evil. AI doesn't have its own ethical boundary. It can be used either way. So we have, on the left, AI healthcare, saving lives, being used in hospitals, great stuff. On the right, we have it being used to find ways to deny healthcare coverage, to not save lives. On the left, we can have it drafting factual news stories. On the right, we can have it drafting fake news propaganda. On the good side, we have it streamlines e-commerce, makes things cheaper, faster, better. On the other side is predatory pricing and redlining and excluding consumers based on some kind of bias. On the good side, we have AI road safety that saves lives. But on the bad side, there's AI that tracks quote unquote illegals and disappears them. Then on the good side, we have police AI solving crimes, but on the bad side, AI police state killing dissidents. On the good side, AI defense system detects threats, keeps it safe, but on the bad side, genocidal AI with a friends and family kill list not only kills you, but everybody who knows you. So here is the Beverly Hills Virtual Patrol Officer Network Operations Center. I lived in Beverly Hills until recently. I actually ran for mayor in Beverly Hills in the last election. I now live outside Washington, D.C. The way the system works, there are drones that fly overhead 10 a.m. to 10 p.m. daily, and they'd probably fly them all night if they had night vision. There's thousands and thousands of CCTV cameras that track your every move wherever you are in Beverly Hills. Your car, when it enters or leaves Beverly Hills, there's an automatic license plate reader that knows your car. The AI analyzes objects, records everything in HD, keeps the video for months and months, and then it has a very powerful query engine. So it can find just about anyone or anything, just like you would do a Google search, except instead of it being the internet, it's your city. So if you wanted to say, find me that guy who was wearing a red ball cap and riding a bicycle and turned left on Main Street, this would answer that question instantly with a picture of that guy and also a timeline of everywhere that he's been, maybe from going back months of time, everyone he knows, everyone he's talked to. You would know everything just from that simple query. So when I was appointed by the then mayor to the Beverly Hills Technology Committee, and that's just a citizen committee that researches how to improve technology in Beverly Hills. And when this system was rolled out, naturally I had some questions about it, because the example they gave was a lost child that you could instantly find their parents, and even the vehicle the parents entered the city in, that you could quickly return a lost child to their parents. And I said, that sounds fantastic, but I have a concern about AI misuse. What if instead of to find a lost child, it's used to abduct a child? What if kidnappers get control of the system somehow and decide to kidnap the child of a Hollywood movie star, for instance? What precautions do we have against that happening? And our AI cyber czar of the time turned to me and said that's not a problem. We thought of that. I was like, oh, that's a relief. What's the solution? He said, yeah, we talked to the city attorney. They can't sue us if that happens. Okay. So, that's the downside of all these systems, is that the people operating them may not have the clearest vision of what could possibly go wrong. Now, this system is fabulous. It's solving crimes all over the country. These smash and grab rings have been broken up by this system, because if the criminals come to Beverly Hills, they're toast. The system is going to catch them. The AI can actually identify a crime in progress without, with 8,000 cameras. How do you have police officers on all those cameras? AI monitors it. And AI can detect a crime happening in progress and text that as a photo to a police officer or the police chief and say, hey, I think this is a crime. Look at what's happening here. AI face recognition has been legally banned in California because of privacy concerns, but that's not as helpful as people who don't know AI would think, because AI can also ID you from how you walk or in many other ways, such as tying you to the vehicle that you drove in on. So it doesn't really save you from being identified that face recognition is turned off. So I've never met Palantir CEO Alex Karp, but he's said that his general bias on AI is that it's dangerous. But his philosophy is to race toward danger. He says that either we will win or China will win. But I look at the last arms race and say, I don't think anybody won in the nuclear weapons race. So I'm not, I have a lot of reservations about developing AI weapons for mass destruction. Right now, there are systems called Lavender and Where's Daddy. These are terrorist tracking systems or extrajudicial assassination systems, depending on how you frame them. And these track people, a person of interest, and if you press a button, it kills them. So, these systems are already being used in war zones. And the nature of military systems is that they always come home, that these systems being used in war would mean that we'll see them in other places. And in fact, these military AI surveillance systems are being sold to governments worldwide, including Beverly Hills that I just mentioned. That's a military AI surveillance system. And so we're going to have all-seeing eye surveillance in American cities already. And of course, my concern is what if it starts to mimic the war systems we have that have no judicial oversight, but a soldier makes a life or death decision and presses a button. So there's no IAEA, there's no NRC, there's no NWC to try to define what these AI safety protocols should be. And now I'm going to go on a little history, and pardon me as I go backwards in time here. This is the NBC studios in Chicago in 1990. I actually built these studios. This is my first large engineering job. And these cameras that you're looking at are autonomous. They operate themselves. These are AI cameras in 1990. There are no camera operators for these cameras. In fact, camera operators are not allowed on the floor, because if one of these cameras would hit you, it'd be like being hit by a Volkswagen. These cameras can move autonomously on their own, and they're very powerful. They can run you over and kill you. There's actually a kill switch, so if someone would step onto the floor by mistake, you can shut down the entire newsroom. So then here's 1998. When I was working with DARPA and built one of the first real-time AI crisis detection systems. This system monitors information and looks for a developing crisis so that you can be warned and not be surprised. And I actually sailed on the aircraft carrier USS Lincoln here to test the system at sea. And then here's 2015. I wrote the software for this. This is animation without animators. This is AI motion capture producing a hit Mattel Barbie cartoon series, which I worked on for 2 years. Here's what I'm doing presently. This is MCare, which is a hospital telepresence system. The idea is to connect all 52,000 plus hospitals in the world to each other in a telepresence telemedicine system, so that a doctor can scrub into any hospital anywhere in the world and make medicine much more collaborative. And also for training, that doctors can have an AI, an NPC, an unplayable character, so that they can put together an OR team and train when they're just training by themselves. Because it's a big problem now that if you want to train as a scrub nurse or as a doctor or as a surgeon, you need to put together a team so you can do a realistic simulation. But with this, you'll just be able to go by yourself, and the team will all be NPCs, or maybe they'll be real doctors who are telepresencing in, either way. And here's just an idea of the architecture. There's a central data center, and then all of these locations, whether you're in a field hospital or you're in a metropolitan research hospital or even in outer space, they'll either be connected or you'll have AI so you can run the system locally when you lose connection. So this is designed for an intermittent internet. Here are a couple of my classes that are coming up at Community College of Baltimore County. If anybody happens to be interested in these topics, I don't know that any of this group would be, but I just thought I'd mention since we're here. And I'm going to end with this. Founded Abode, that's the nonprofit that I lead. We're putting together an international AI safety task group. If anyone would like to be a part of that, feels that they can help in some way, to let me know. Here's my contact information. And then before I wrap this up, I'm going to have one final thought here. Someone asked me today how much energy and how much water ChatGPT uses on a query. And I didn't happen to know the answer to that question, so I looked it up. And the answer is 0.3 watt hours. That's about half of a watch battery capacity, and 0.5 milliliters of water, which is about one thimbleful. Now, the issue, of course, is that ChatGPT processes over 2.5 billion prompts per day, made by 123 million users. So even though it's half a watch battery and a thimble at a time of water, it adds up. Now, for the future, my opinion is that small language models are coming, and an iPhone has 17 watt hours of electricity, so it has plenty of electricity and doesn't need to use all that water. So with better AI, in theory, we won't need data centers anymore. All of this effort toward doing massive data centers, I think is sort of a white elephant, because chip technology is obsolete every 18 months. And the idea that we're going to build a $500 billion data center that's obsolete in 18 months, I think people will come to their senses. But I could be wrong. The government is certainly capable of doing something that makes no economic sense. So that's my presentation today. The reason for going clear back to 1990 and NBC and things like that was to point out that this problem has been growing for a long time. When the NBC studios went robotic, all but one of the union camera operators were laid off. They were all replaced by robots, and so forth and so on. So people have been losing their jobs to robots since 1990. It's just that today it's much more on a wholesale type of scale, and how to cope with that as a society is a good question. There's some people who say the future is Star Wars, that we'll have this, very dark authoritarian Clash of the Titans type of society, and there are others like myself who was inspired by Star Trek. I became a research scientist in AI because of Star Trek, in a sense. We're looking at a more utopian future where, consumerism and all of this transactional society, is not the way that things go. So that's it for me. If anybody has a question, I will answer it.
Sure.
And I'll pull the screen here so you can get your screen back.
Thank you, Robin. And it was a great presentation. And thanks for taking time out of your schedule on a very, very short notice. And you have put a great amount of detail. I think you are the only one who have touched upon what exactly Suchi wrote, the fair use research paper he wrote. Thanks a lot. Sincere thanks. And if anybody have any questions, can you quickly be brief so that we'll hand over the session to Shankar and Varun next. Anybody have any questions? I'll just help you unmute yourself and can ask. Robin has been doing a lot of work in Hollywood and defense. So anybody wants to ask anything, feel free.
Hey, Sean, can you hear me?
Yes, Ed. Please go ahead.
Yeah, I put a comment in here in the chat. Robin, you mentioned an independent international AI safety task group. And I think you'd agree there's probably a large and ever-growing number of such groups out there. So what makes this group that you're forming different or unique versus the other groups that are out there?
Well, I hope that we're different and unique. Part of it is just the technical depth that we have is very different. But I've headed UN task groups. I've headed ISO standards committees. The issue with these groups, I don't know how much experience you have in running an international task force, but the people that join these groups are often not that technical. They have a company, that they have a product that they want to somehow incorporate into a standard, or that that somehow being on this committee benefits them. The big problem with these committees in the international sector is many of them are pay to play. Many of them you actually have to pay to join the committee, and that brings in a certain type of person who can justify the cost of doing this. I'm not going to make anybody pay anything. It could be that some other organization would be better, but my focus isn't on whistleblowing. We just had the presentation by the lady with the whistleblowing organization. I'm much more concerned about the technology itself, and I'm much more concerned about AI for weapons of mass destruction, which no one else here that I've heard today has even brought up. I think weapons of mass destruction is much more concerning than Hollywood being out of work. Not that I think that Hollywood being out of work is okay. So, that's really going to be the focus that I take is, that
So
we
is it
take.
primarily, is it in essence a technical working group?
Well, I think it has to be everybody, but the thing that I see with so many working groups is that they're non-technical. I've been on many working groups, and I've always been the most technical person in the room. And I don't know that we need multiple copies of me in this task group, but since I'm always the most technical person and I'm not in every committee, I'm guessing that there are plenty of committees that don't have someone like me. So, if that's the committee that you want, then that's fine. I'm just trying to help. I don't have a business out of this. It's the Fountain of Boat is a nonprofit. I don't have a product to sell here. And really the idea of doing the task group emerged out of me being invited to talk today. I was like, well, what hope am I going to offer people? Because there isn't a UN or ISO committee that I know of. I was on the one of the nuclear committees at ISO, and repeating that with AI would, I think, not accomplish a lot, because in the nuclear side, someone mentioned earlier, we kind of understand now. We've had the first nuclear reactor was 1942. It's kind of understood technology. And if I tried to have that same committee with AI and didn't have anybody technical on it, I don't know how that would even work.
So you're in the Baltimore metro area, right?
Yes, I'm in Harbor East in Baltimore near the National Aquarium.
Okay. I grew up in Baltimore. Okay. So
Thanks a lot, Ed. If we can, maybe I'll try to connect you with Robin, and then we'll try to see in case if we can continue.
okay, that's cool. I don't want to bog us down.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for the understanding. Thanks a lot, Robin, for taking time out, and